What's good, everybody? Welcome to this week's edition of Grown Talk with Goddess. Crazy ass week. And I'm sweating. My hands are wet. The anticipation of this show.
Your hands is wet.
My hands are wet. Like when
Hold
I
the
sweat.
fuck up. Hold on. No, you ain't fucking wearing lipstick.
Yeah.
I just.
Yo, listen. I'm in lipstick. I never
Yo,
wear.
Toad. Oh my God.
Bring them in.
She went live, and I'm like, who's she dressing up for?
Yeah. I'm hopefully looking pretty and dressing up for anybody new who joined in today to listen to the show. There's been a lot of shit popping that's been going on a little bit everywhere. I've been doing a whole bunch of exposing all week. But, you know, for anybody new that's never experienced Grown Talk with Goddess, the topic that I've chosen to do today is completely different than what I normally do. But it's a good change. There's a lot of stuff going on in this world, and we need to bring awareness to the racism and how important black lives and all lives are. So I'm at home with my kids, bored like always. Oh, and let me introduce Tony Williams. I have Tony on the phone. He's my live guest today. He's not only social distancing, he's all the way in Georgia. Shout out to Tony. Tony, what's up? Thanks for being here.
Hey, I appreciate the invite for the second time. I love being a part of y'all's show.
Thank you. Oh, we still got to get down there to go see Tony. But Tony and I are started out as like the dearest Facebook friends in one of these freak groups that I used to be in when I used to be a bad girl.
Why you got to associate with your freak groups?
I'm friends with a few of them.
Hey,
you know, like at one point.
Don't be telling the folks our business from way back when.
Exactly.
Okay, is this coming from the same guy who screenshot a picture last night of him donating to a black cause with half of the chicks in his background on his wall, half-ass naked?
But that's not my fault that they chose to post those pictures. I can't control what they post.
Full of shit.
Why is you making a big deal of that anyway? Shouldn't you be donating too?
I did. I've donated.
I don't know if she donated properly, man. I don't know if she donated properly.
Listen,
I don't know either. Okay.
Yo, real talk, yo. I've never seen Goddess in lipstick. Like, she really got on, yo. She knew you was calling in, Tone. She's like, I'm going to get ready. You know what I mean?
You know what? I low-key think she did it for my black ass. Because the second I said I wanted to be on the show again, she's like, oh, shit,
Yeah.
let me get dolled up for Tony. Oh, my
Look,
God, I got to do it one time for my homie.
You know what?
And
You
I
should have.
appreciate that, Goddess. I really do.
Whatever. You should have seen the outfit I was gonna pull up here wearing today. This is that right there.
Look.
It was completely
Look,
cleavage
your
filled. I
cleavage
couldn't
is
wear a bra.
popping. Your cleavage is popping enough. So the outfit you were going to bring, let's save that for another time.
Okay, we'll save that for when you come up here to see me in a couple of weeks.
Excellent.
All right. So look, I'm on my Facebook page, and y'all know me, born, raised, Hackensack. I want to give a huge shout out to anybody from Patterson that's listening, who will be listening, who's tuning in later on. You know, I'm not from there, but I respect the people no matter where you live. I'm there. You know, I be out there. I've got friends out there. I've got family out there. You know, I basically stay out there. It's like a second home to me. And I tell you what, being from Hackensack and being born, raised, brought up in Hackensack, I realized that there are certain things that you just don't or should never do in a town where you come from and where you lay your head. So I'm on my Facebook. I'm up with the baby. It's early in the morning. I see the same dude. Now, I don't know this dude. He's friends on my other model page, too, as well as the page that I was able to get this information on. His name is S. Barber. I was able to record some of a rant that he had going on during like a 30-minute live feed. After listening to him for about a good maybe 12 to 15 minutes, because I have an iPhone. Shout out to iPhone. You're able to screen record, and that's what I did. And I was able to get him saying some crazy things. Now, the day before, he had put up a post on his Facebook page saying, if only Black Lives Matter, then Black lives can suck my dick. I don't know if I sent you that one, but okay. It's actually on my Facebook page, along with the whole collage of what I posted. So what I did was I started recording. So I want you guys to watch the 2 videos that I was able to get from his live feed, and we'll talk about it. Says no one.
Black people ain't the only ones that's minorities getting killed by cops. Y'all just always the ones that be publicizing y'all shit, putting y'all shit all over the TV. Y'all act like, there's way more Mexicans getting killed in Cali than black people. You don't hear the Mexicans crying about, oh, motherfucking Vatos matter. Them niggas are doing what they gotta do, my nigga. They don't give a fuck, my nigga. They got shit they gotta take care of. Y'all focus on the wrong bullshit, my nigga. I ain't even fucking white. I'm Spanish. That's why I could talk shit. My baby mom black, and I'm Spanish. My backyard was a project. I'm from Patterson. I'm from the same hood y'all from. Y'all just a bunch of fucking idiots. Y'all want to sit here and be crying, like I said. Ain't nobody crying. I'm out here to get this money, my nigga. I got this foreign exchange market so popping right now. I'm about to make so much money, my nigga. And all I'm going to do is shit on all you motherfuckers. All the niggas that said no were all the people that were in my comments. Go check how many people told me no in dead, in jail, or finked out. I can start naming niggas. Niggas I know since like first grade told me no. Niggas is finked out at Broadway by White Castle with the rest of y'all motherfuckers. Niggas swear they got some smoke. I got that fire, my nigga. I got that shit that you don't even gotta trap no more. You can make $1 million in 6 months doing what I'm doing. But y'all niggas sitting here fighting over a broke black nigga. He had a counterfeit 20. Who give us, yo. Y'all niggas, man. Y'all bugging. I can say whatever the fuck I want. Cause once those cops read my license and my last name say Rivera, them motherfuckers they gonna treat me just like they treat y'all. Trust me, I'm fighting a speeding ticket right now that was all profiling. I ain't crying about the shit. I ain't posting shit. I gotta deal with that shit. I'ma deal with it though, cause I ain't no crybaby. I'm not black. I don't cry to make people feel sorry. I go out there and I fight my cases. All my shits. I ain't never cast no knot. Why? Cause I wasn't serving the type of motherfucker. I wasn't serving every corner crackhead. I ain't never cast no knot. Why? Cause I wasn't serving the type of motherfucker. I wasn't serving every corner crackhead on the, you know what I mean? Like I wasn't doing all that shit. I did my shit so smart. I ain't catch no knocks. I was able to transform my life. I ended up homeless because I stopped hustling. Where the fuck was any of y'all niggas at? Hispanics' lives ain't matter back then. I came up on my own. I ain't need none of y'all niggas' help. And I still don't need none of y'all niggas' help. Every shop I've been to is closed. Smooth Creations was the last one. Them niggas done. I might go buy that shit myself. On purpose. Cause I could. Niggas will be tight. I be out there charging 40 a cut. Motherfuckers in Patterson be crying. Why you charging us 40? Ah. Cry babies. Motherfuckers be having $500 Jordans out talking about, oh, I get my haircuts for $12 down the street. Then go get a $12 haircut, motherfucker. That's why y'all niggas always broke. Y'all always y'all spend the money on the wrong shit. That $500 could have went to one of y'all kids' college funds. Y'all could have put that shit into the Forex market, turn that 500 into 5 million. But y'all think them Jordans don't make y'all no money. They be catching y'all knocks. Jordan owns jails. Michael Jordan owns jails. All y'all niggas out there selling drugs to buy Jordans. He making money off y'all for that. And then when y'all catch knocks, him and Bob Barker, all the clothes in the county is owned by Bob Barker. Niggas don't even know that shit. Price is right, bitch. That nigga's son got killed in the county. And as a deal so that shit don't go public, they allowed him to put his clothing line inside the county. All that green shit in the county, if you look in the motherfucking name tag, that should say Bob Barker. So Michael Jordan and Bob. That should say Bob Barker.
Is my Michael back live? Woo! I want to let you guys know the exact number of shares that post got. This was the first time ever I had put anything up that generated anything like this. 620 shares on my post. 27.5K thousand views on my post. 133 comments. The things that people put on the post once they shared it was on them. I had one person from Germany share my post. So it went a little bit of everywhere.
Congrats.
What irritated me the most about this whole thing is there is so much shit that this ignorant S. Barber is so either blind to or unaware of that it's sickening. It absolutely is crazy. Tony, did you hear the whole thing before today?
I didn't hear the whole thing, but it's kind of messed up because I was hearing so much of everything else. So at the time you told or you posted it to your page and you told people to listen to it, I was kind of done at that point because it was like I done heard so much other shit from other folks. So, but I heard a little bit of his rambling when you had him, just this moment, and it's like you seem a bit perplexed. You seem angry. You want to tone that down a little bit, but I mean, at the end of the day, people, in my opinion, I feel who lack an understanding as to why things are, the way they are with Black people, with African Americans, I really feel like it's just a lack of understanding. It's a lack of knowledge. It's a lack of, but, at the same time, people have to want to learn what's going on about a certain cause. You have to want to know why people are shouting Black Lives Matter. You have to want to know why, you should support this or, whatever the case. Because if you don't want to learn or don't want to be a part of the cause or the solution, then you're not going to care. It doesn't matter what anybody says. Right. So I think his biggest problem is, the same problem that a whole bunch of other races as white people have. They're tired of hearing it and not being involved.
No, he's Spanish. He's Puerto Rican, Tony.
He's okay.
This is coming from a minority, which makes it even worse that it's even coming from him. He is a part of that minority. He is Black. He's Puerto Rican.
Well, the only thing is because there's this thing I like to call inclusion. Everybody knows what inclusion is, but it's different because even though, let's be honest, we all really come from the same place.
Right.
But as far as, as far as he's concerned, you say he's Puerto Rican. Okay, cool. There are a lot of similarities between Black people and Hispanic people. But at the end of the day, we're talking about Black people. And I know there are a lot of people who say, okay, Mexican, Puerto Rican, whatever, all types of Hispanic people are basically Black people. I'm not going to argue that. It's not really my place to argue that. But at the same time, we're talking about Black Lives Matter. And the fact of the matter is, I don't know, nor do I recall too many Hispanic people dealing with the same shit that we've been dealing with.
You know what? He brought up on his page, and he's still going, by the way. I'm his friend because I'm being nosy, I'm taking information from him. I'm using it for my show. He's got a black baby mother. You know, that was one of the things he mentioned in his video. But oddly, today, um, you know, he was talking a little bit about, um, you know, like ICE. You know, Hispanics or Mexicans are going through the whole, you know, deportation process, and they're being raped and while they're in custody, and they're being abused. They're not given the proper clothing and blankets. You know, where they are can get cold. He's comparing the situation in the whole Black Lives Matter movement with that, and he's saying that Spanish people aren't walking around crying and screaming Spanish lives matter. You know, so he doesn't seem as if it's justified. Another thing he said was that he made a point that black people cry, like they complain instead of doing anything about anything. He says, I'm not black. I don't complain about things. I get shit done. As if to say that, you know, we do a lot of complaining rather than show actual change and make progress. So, you know, that was found to be offensive.
That's a bunch of ignorance, but it really depends on which black people you talk to, because there are black people who do things about it, and there are black people who will hear about everything that's going on just for it to go out the other ear. Mm-hmm. So if we're being really honest, a part of that is kind of true. But I feel like now in 2020, it's getting to a point where it's like, okay, how much more of this shit can we really take? Because if I'm not mistaken, we've lost 3 people, maybe more. I think we lost a grand total of like 6 black people to some sort of murder by white people and police officers in a month.
Listen, you're going to hear about this. When I was on my way out the house just now, on my way here, in Washington State, 3 months ago, there was another black man that was beaten by police on camera. He was yelling he couldn't breathe. Later on, after the autopsy was performed, it was found that he did die from cardiovascular, like a heart attack from being put into restraint. So now they want to start investigating it. I saw it just as I was leaving out the house. But this happened 3 months ago. We're going to start to hear about it more and more. And there's going to be more and more cases that are going to come to light now that fire has been put on a lot of these, you know, police officers to start to change the way they reinforce, which is a good thing. You know, I personally have never had any type of altercation with police, but I have a 21-year-old son who has been racially profiled many times, has been, you know, has had encounters with police and you know, has had to deal with stuff like this. And it's not the easiest thing to have to get a phone call to hear, you know, especially when you know that, you know, things could have turned out to be and go completely different than what it did. My biggest thing with S. Barber was that he feels as though, you know, it should be, to be honest with you, besides bashing an entire city, I really don't know what the purpose of anything he was saying. He talked about Bob Barker's clothing in jail being given to inmates to wear so that his son's death was hidden. That wasn't even Price is Right, bitch. That wasn't even the same Bob Barker who makes inmate clothing. Shout out to Zuri Williams. He was on the comments in the post and put up a huge article about Michael Jordan and the whole jail thing. You know, everything is about business. I get it. You know, what Tom is going to pay Harry for Dick's work. Like, I get the way it goes. And, you know, I do see a lot of people walking around with Jordans on their feet, but we also don't know what the situation is in their home either. You know, whether they're supporting it or not. My kids buy Jordans. I don't stop them. I just, you know.
I think what's happening here is what you're seeing over and over again is that people aren't listening.
Right.
And the reason why I'm saying they're not listening is black people aren't saying only Black Lives Matter. Those words aren't being uttered by us. We're saying all Black Lives Matter.
Right.
We're the ones being shot,
Yep.
choked out,
Yep.
murdered on a regular basis.
Yep.
And unfortunately, people who aren't black are taking it as we're saying their lives don't matter and our lives are the only one that matters. And again, that's not what's being said. And what I want to say to Mr. Barber, the black community is pretty much what's, helping your shop succeed and benefit.
That's what I told him. That's what many people are telling
You're
him.
charging $40 a cut. You're that good. Believe me, I always tell women all the time, you think you're bad when it comes to hair, men are far worse. We are far worse when it comes to hair. What's good, Craig? Seeing it. What's good, Prodigy?
Hey, what's going on?
But I also want him to understand you are a minority also, just like God has said earlier. But the problems we come here is this shows us how Latin people have gotten overly confident. Latin people aren't black, but they still say nigga.
You heard how many times he said it in
Right, but that's what I'm saying. You don't hear black people saying, what's up, my spick.
Right.
We don't say that.
What's up, Spaniard?
We don't say that. So I think what happened is he might have got into a confrontation or argument with someone that was black, whether it was his wife at home or someone, and just decided to go on a rant.
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe maybe I will say this. He may have hid who he truly was for a long period of time, but the fact that it's out now and everyone knows it is going to hurt that $1 million business he claims he has.
Right.
So again, we're not saying black lives are the only lives that matter. All right? We're saying Black Lives Matter because we're the ones out there, again, having our lives ended just because someone had a bad day or they do not respect the melanated skin that we have. So, again, I just think, if we could sit all races down and truly, break everything down to them and let them know, there is no such thing as pure race.
Right.
All right? Spanish, you're black, motherfucker. You're black.
We all came from Africa. It just depended on where the fuck the boat stopped and let your people off at.
Craig says Spanish people don't know where they come from. The unique thing about, it's not to be funny, but the unique thing about the Latin language and community, in Africa, there are about more than 20 different dialect and languages. But when you talk about Spanish, it's just this. I mean, you have their own slang, but for the most part, it's the same language.
Right. Yeah.
It's the same language.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Same all the way around.
Yeah.
Or certain other places, it breaks down.
Mm-hmm.
But I truly believe that, again, this gentleman had a bad day. He had a bad situation overall, and it got the best of him. And unfortunately, he did the unwise thing, is go on and tell people who suck your dick. Because what I try to tell people like that, and I'm from the streets. I'm from the hood. I'm not from, I didn't walk around it, walk by it, smack dead in the middle, live the life. As hard as you think you are, there's someone out there harder.
Yeah.
And that's just how that life works. There's someone out there hungrier, willing to do what you won't do,
Yeah.
and is more grimier than you.
Yeah.
That's just how that lifestyle works. It truly is.
All right, so later on in the day, Jay Gonzalez was able to get S. Dot on the phone. Now, listen, he was cutting hair at the barber shop. Wuzzy Fizzy pulled up on him, tried to get into the door. He wouldn't open up the door. He told him he was going to break his face. He's really got people out in Paterson, New Jersey looking for him, as they should. He dissed a lot of people, man.
Well, I mean, just for sake, like there are people out, like I told you, there are people out there that want to make a name for themselves, and that's one of the best ways. There are people out there who want to do what you want.
Yeah.
There are people out there that are hungrier than you.
Yep.
You didn't live the street life. You didn't gave that up. You're legit now. You got businesses.
Mm-hmm.
You got niggas that's hungry that don't have legit businesses.
Right.
Who don't mind running up on your ass.
And that's exactly what happened to him. It's on my Facebook page, guys. I got the whole live video. He pulled up on him with S. Dot refused to open up the door.
I ain't gonna open that door. Shout out Craig. Craig said American blacks are not from Africa, therefore Northern America. And this is why I say, Craig, and I say this, and a lot of times this does rub people the wrong way. I'm not an African American. I'm black. I'm American. If you want to know, my nationality, you would say I'm black. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, I'm American. I'm not African American. I wasn't born in Africa, being raised in America. Mm-hmm. You don't hear anybody else call themselves European American.
Right.
Latin Americans. You know what I mean? It kills me how black people continue to allow themselves. To me, an African American is the new word for nigga. Mm-hmm. What you said, Tone?
Oh, no, I didn't say anything. I'm listening.
Oh, I think, African American is the new nigga. That's just my personal belief.
The new other word.
I am not an African American. I wasn't born over there. I was born and raised here. And again, someone tried to run up on them, but it's going to continue to happen because there are people out there who are going to want to make a name for themselves.
Yes. Yep. And they will. They sure will. They sure will. But I was able to get Jay Gonzalez, and shout out to him. On Facebook, it's Jordan Gonzalez. And S. Dot's conversation, he went live with him trying to talk some sense into him. It was very hard. Somebody had bad service. But I did ask for Jay's permission to record some of their conversations so I could put up for you guys to watch. And he was trying to talk some sense into him, but he wasn't trying to listen. Here it is.
Y'all, they care about their image too much to make change. They're making money off of people's downfalls. How many movies on the Oprah channel, the true stories about females getting trashed or something crazy going on? She's basically benefiting off of people's downfalls. But that's who people want to follow. And when this shit goes down, Oprah ain't nowhere. I ain't hear a lick from Oprah. I haven't even seen her on TV. I don't even watch TV, but I haven't seen a commercial with Oprah. Nothing. Like, if the only two people that's gonna talk is Kaepernick and Jamie Foxx, it's over already. Yo, you mad breaking up. It's all good though. Like I already made my point, man. People want to.
All right, man. So you dropping, you got bad, whatever it is. But let me answer because you wasn't letting me that large ass rebuttal. You don't even let me get a word in. All right, booby. This is a situation, so you can go back and play this and see this. What you mean people ain't been fighting? Been fighting for years. You know what you telling? You don't know about Black Wall Street? You don't know about? Oh, you must have not known that the government dropped the bomb in Philly in the 80s. You must not know about that neither. Bro, people been fighting. People been fighting for years, bro, and nothing. At the end of the day, you got to understand, man, it's systematic. And you don't want to get that. Oh, all they do is cry. They've been crying forever. Booby, at the end of the fucking day, niggas are crying right now. And they also, out right now, they're lashing out. Why? Because at the end of the day, no one's being heard. Kaepernick, since you brung him up, took a knee in peaceful protests. Now shit get like this. Oh, why can't they be peaceful? Kaepernick was trying to be peaceful. You feel me? At the end of the day. So I don't get it, man.
Y'all, thanks for letting me join your live, homie. I got something to say too. That goes to show that's how uneducated he is. But
all right, so he was trying to, talk to him a little bit, got him back on Facebook Live. see if he would maybe change his mind or his opinion on things. He's still pig-headed. Even now, he was tagging me in a post where a white guy, and I have this on my page too. White guy said he was beaten by two black men, and then they showed the footage. He was getting beaten by a crowd of white people with skateboards, and they got the actual video footage of him being beaten by white men on skateboards,
Well,
not
that's
two black
similar with the whole protesting and the the looting.
men.
The first person to loot was a former police officer
Put that picture up.
who broke into the AutoZone,
I put that.
and he
picture
got ratted out by his ex.
Yep. I put the.
But the
picture up.
narrative of the news wants you to see black.
Yep.
Like I tell people all the time, just like the system, if you think blacks and Spanish, or even let's throw Asian in there, runs the welfare, you done bumped your fucking head.
It's whites.
White people are 90% of the individuals that are on welfare.
Yep.
Not black and brown.
Yep. It's 100% true.
Does not exist.
100% true.
But unfortunately, they want to paint a narrative that makes you see this specific and false information to make you believe that that's the case.
I got a couple of friends that live out in Newark, New Jersey. Shout out to them. They told me that they were going outside, and I heard this from more than 3 people. They were going outside and just seeing random bricks in a box, as if they were trying to get people to start with the shit. You know, who knows? Somebody in the city, somebody in the town, whatever. But they were leaving random boxes with bricks, you know,
I mean,
hoping.
That's the money. These news, 24 hours, 7 days a week, they're reporting riot here, looting there, and, you know, they get to charge these Honda commercials more money to have their commercials shown during this horrible and crazy situation.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, there are some people out there looting, black, white. There was an Asian lady ran off with 5 fucking flat screens.
White lady with 3 lamps.
So, I mean, everybody's out there doing what they do.
Absolutely.
You know, it's not a race thing. But
Absolutely.
again, I'll go back to when black people say Black Lives Matter, they are not excluding any other culture's hardship.
No, not at all.
You know, that's why we have Puerto Rican Day Parade, Dominican Parade, West Indian Parade. You have your own individuals who celebrate it. And sure enough, you see everybody else at them fucking parades because they want to hear the music. They want to see the nice outfits. That doesn't mean that because that's that particular parade that those are the only people that are allowed.
They want to find them a poppy.
But think about this for a second.
What you got, Tony?
You mentioned all those parades
Right.
that these people have. We don't got no parade, but we have this Black Lives Matter because it really just seems like no matter what we do, people of other races they do not give a fuck about us.
That's true.
And we're the most copied culture
Facts.
in the
100%.
world.
100%.
But y'all don't give a fuck about us?
I had
That doesn't even make sense to me. So, and it goes back to y'all remember Dave Chappelle, that episode where you know it was Ask a Black Dude,
yes.
and it was Paul Mooney,
Yes.
and Paul Mooney made a very good point. He said everybody wants to be a nigga, but don't nobody want to be a nigga,
That's right.
and that's very true.
Mhm.
So you want the clothing, you want the shoes, you want the style, you want our women, but you don't want the bad.
Yeah,
that
the pain
comes with
that
being
comes
black.
with it. Yeah.
That's true.
So it's like I'm black, I'm proud to be black. If I have to encounter bullshit, fine, so be it. But I'm not switching over. I don't want to be white. I don't want to be Hispanic or Asian. And it's nothing against them. It's just I'm proud to be black.
That's it.
But again, why are we shit on just for being black. You know,
I
it's
think
like so many people think, you know, when they talk about like Elvis, you know, talking about he's the king of rock and roll, but who's the grandfather?
exactly.
Who,
Great.
Who did Elvis get his music from?
Great
Chuck
point.
Berry.
Yeah,
Great point.
yeah, that's
Chuck,
right, Tony.
Chuck Berry gave him his music.
Yeah,
So it's like black people had such an influence on this country, and years, decades after that, we still get no respect. I mean, at this point, I'm surprised we haven't burned down more of our neighborhoods and our communities, because it's like, how much longer do we have to put up with this foolishness?
well, listen, I tell you what, in New York City, they're doing a good job with all of the protests. They shut down the Holland Tunnel today. Protesters walked across the Brooklyn Bridge this morning and stopped any and all traffic from being able to go across. They're definitely out there. I know they're doing a 1,000-mile march between Alabama and Michigan.
Good luck with that shit.
1,000 miles.
It's the right season to do it, though. I give you.
Listen, my kids were like, "Mom, do you think somebody's gonna really walk 1,000 miles?" No. I think they might stop, and then other people start joining in as they go.
They'll probably, you know, they got some people that probably do the whole thing. They'll pit stop, whatever. And Craig, definitely, man. Craig said he wants to call in guests too.
Okay.
You can definitely do that. We can set that up.
Absolutely.
I will say this. I think, Tone, you brought up a great point, and I want to take it even further. Everyone knows who Justin Timberland is, right?
Yeah.
All right. Do you remember John B?
Oh yes.
All
He
right,
looked like my baby father.
What is the difference between John B and Justin Timberland? Justin Timberland knew. Go ahead, Tone.
Isn't John B like half black?
No, he's not. He was
He's
gangster.
full white. He's full white.
He was full white, but he was a little bit more gangster.
But that's the point I was about to make, Tone. The difference between Justin Timberland and John B is Justin Timberland knew when to stop acting black.
Right.
He had the soul voice.
Because didn't he do that shit like near the end of his NSYNC days? Like right before or right when he was trying to go solo? He was trying a little too hard.
He didn't go to. See, here's the thing, and I shout out to his whole team. They played the line perfectly, and it was because he had that soulful voice, but he never tried to be black like John B did.
Right.
John B had every video was black women in it.
Yes.
It was all about fat asses and all this other shit. And as far as Justin said, I sound like I'm black.
Right.
But I'm gonna go over here and fuck the shit out of Bill.
Listen, and then the very first time
you know what?
he's out public
You know
with a
what's
black.
so fun? You know what's so funny about that? You guys know Robin Thicke.
Yes.
Absolutely.
It's kind of the same thing with him, you know, going the Justin Timberlake route. But the only difference is he actually married a black
Right,
woman.
that's the difference.
But-
Like, he married it, and he didn't really like go super hard with it. The only thing he really associated himself with was more of his wife.
Right.
So he was already, he was like, all right, we can't get on him like we would want to because she's black and she's fucking gorgeous. So we really can't. We're envious of him because he got this gorgeous black woman. But like I said, John B it was super chains, do-rags, baggy clothes.
Yo, John B was sexy as hell. I bet you he still is to this day.
That nigga, me and you put together.
Ow, are you serious?
That's how big John B is now.
No.
Yeah, but that just goes to to show how some people, again, you gotta know when to and when not to.
Right. Right.
You know, and another thing, like a lot of people, I hate her now. Pink.
You don't like Pink?
Nah, because she's racist.
She used to
Everybody
fuck
remember
Trench.
Pink first came out. Pink whole album was R&B and black.
She used to fuck Trench.
Oh,
From Naughty by
a
Nature.
lot of women take black dick, but they ain't gonna take him home.
Yeah, you know.
But ever since that first album, everything's pop now. She don't really like want to associate herself. But again, you just have people who have to understand, like Tone said, they mimic it. They talk like us. They walk like us. They act like us. You know, but they know when to turn the shit off.
Yeah.
And because their skin is lighter, they will get a lot more benefits than that we won't get.
Right. Right.
Because, and I want to tell people how much this country hates black people. We can fix our financial debt in 24 hours.
Mm-hmm.
And that's by giving black people reparations, give each person 5, 10, 15 mil. And because the majority of the black people don't know how to invest, how to save, they're going to give that money right back.
Right back.
5,000 cars,
Right
16
back.
houses.
Right back. Right back. That's exactly what's going to happen.
But again, they don't know. Like, you look at the beauty of black, like Tone said, and like how Craig said, we invented the AC. We invented ice cream. We invented the traffic stop.
Mm-hmm.
We invented majority of everything that the United States really lives on now.
Yeah. We built this country.
Basically, the United States right now wouldn't be shit without the black man.
Agreed.
And you know, it's something I think about that's so funny. They brought us over here 400 years ago. They brought us over here to do their dirty work. Now that the dirty work is finished, it's like we don't get the credit for doing said dirty work.
It's true.
Well, that's why
And,
Lincoln was
you know-
killed, though. Lincoln was going
Say
to
that
give
again?
every black person 40 miles and a mule?
40 acres and a mule.
40 acres and a mule.
Mm-hmm.
You were going to get land. You were going to get property. You were going to be able to have a successful life. And like we talked about Black Wall Street, you have these black people who are not needing white people for anything, and it drove them crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. It was funny.
And then you want to go and burn the shit down. So they basically burned down Black Wall Street based off of a lie.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, are you kidding me? So they needed little to no actual facts. Like just the simplest lie. It's like throwing a lit match into a bush and turned into wildfire.
Yeah.
You know, like that's all it took for white people to go crazy and say, "Oh, that's enough. That's all we need. Let's go destroy this community."
Yeah.
And it's a damn shame. It really is. Because had they left Black Wall Street alone, could you imagine how different America could have been
I know.
today?
Well, it would be way more than the 1%ers.
Yeah.
And shout out to Craig.
Exactly.
Craig says we were already here. We weren't brought here.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. I agree with to a certain extent. I really agree. Definitely. But yeah, Tone, you hit it right on the head. You hit it right on the head.
I just wanted to end this with the whole this, and then get into a little bit of Candace in a second.
Right.
But I just wanted to say, as far as S. Barber, 513 Main Street in Little Falls is the address to the barbershop. Just, guys, make sure you boycott him. Basically, you see what he says. You see how he feels. The same money that we of color give him to, take care of our men, or for the men to take care of themselves. You see how he feels about the people where he lives. Basically, I told him he should humble himself, sit down, and apologize. He says that that's just as bad as me telling me to telling the reporter telling LeBron James to shut up and dribble. You have to live in this place where you just made a whole bunch of people upset. If that's okay with you, then go ahead and live your life every day like it's nothing. My kids won't be at your barbershop, and neither will anybody that I know ever. And hopefully anybody who watches this will stay clear of S. Barber. Check him out on Facebook if you want to laugh at his post.
Well, I will say this. The best way to hurt someone is financially.
Mm-hmm.
And if people do decide to not go there and spend their money, it's going to hurt his business.
Yeah.
And, that's how you hurt someone. And God has said it the right way. Not put your hands on them.
Mm-mm.
Just stop going there spending your money.
That's it. He said he don't need us. He didn't need black. I don't need those motherfuckers. So keep that in mind every time you think about putting a dime in his pocket, whether it be $10, $12, or $40 for a cut, which is what he wants to charge.
Hey, boycott him and see how much of a hustler he really is.
That's
Real
it.
talk.
That's it. But I want to talk a little bit on Candace Owens. We have her rant. She's an American commentator. She was at the White House the other day speaking with Donald Trump as well as Pence on ways to help improve the black community, which to me, she's the worst person they should ask. She's married to a white guy, completely brainwashed. We have her rant that she put up on Facebook. It's 18 minutes long. I do not intend on playing the whole thing. If we could just touch briefly on a little bit of what she said, we have that now for you guys to hear, if you haven't.
Hello, Facebook family. I have decided to do this video. It has been weighing very heavily on my heart and on my mind as well. And it was something that I wanted to say early on, but there were so many emotions and so much pressure for me to go with the popular opinion about who George Floyd was. And sometimes it can be difficult when there are just so many external pressures to say what you believe. And this was an instance where I felt like my silence would have been better in the beginning, but the more that I think about it, I realize that we are being sold a lot of lies, and at the detriment to the black community, at the detriment to the white community, and at the detriment to America as a whole. So I want to come out and say that I do not support George Floyd and the media depiction of him as a martyr for Black America. I'm going to explain why, and I hope that some of you guys will understand where I'm coming from. I have spent a considerable amount of time reading a lot of Black authors that I think are some of the most brilliant Black Americans breathing. Walter Williams, Shelby Steele, Thomas Sowell, and I recently came across something that was an idea that was planted into my head by Shelby Steele, and it has been something that I cannot forget. It is something that will stick with me for the rest of my life. And it is something that I hope for the Black Americans that are watching will stick with you for the rest of your life. Shelby Steele said that the Black community is unique from other communities. Our culture is unique from other communities because we are the only community that caters to the bottom denominator of our society. Now, let me explain what that means. It means to say that not every Black American is a criminal, not every Black American is committing crimes, but we are unique in that we are the only people that fight and scream and demand support and justice for the people in our community that are up to no good. You would be hard pressed to find, a Jewish person who has spent 5 stints in prison, who commits a crime and dies while committing a crime, and that the Jewish people champion and demand justice for. You will be hard-pressed to find this in white America. You'll be hard-pressed to find this even in Latino America. If there is a person that is spent multiple times in prison, you are not going to see a bunch of Latinos coming out demanding justice for this person, even if, and I want to be very clear, what I'm saying is not any defense for Derek Chauvin. I hope Derek Chauvin gets the justice that he deserves to be, implemented upon him, and that the family of George Floyd deserves justice for the way that he died. But I also am not going to accept the narrative that this is the best the Black community has to offer. For whatever reason, it has become fashionable over the last 5 or 6 years for us to turn criminals into heroes overnight. And it is something that I find to be despicable, and it is something that I refuse to stand by any longer, and I am not going to play a part in it, no matter how much pressure comes from Black liberals and Black conservatives as some token of people wanting you to believe that this is the only way you can be Black, is you have to say this was wrong and that this person was amazing. I won't do that. George Floyd was not an amazing person, and as soon as this video hit the internet, I did just basic searches. Everyone jumped on it and was looking at the police officer, and everyone agrees that the police officer was wrong, and the police officer has been arrested. So that is not the reason I'm not discussing that, is because that is not something that has been misconstrued in the media. He has been turned into the devil that he is, and there is no reason for us to harp on that any longer, because white Americans are not uplifting Derek Chauvin as a victim or pretending that he's an amazing human being. But George Floyd is being uplifted as an amazing human being. For those of you who have not yet seen the clips and did not pursue or wait for more clips to come out, first and foremost, George Floyd at the time of his arrest was high on fentanyl, and he was high on methamphetamine. This came back in both of his autopsy reports. If you pursue the 911 transcript, you can see the person describing somebody who is out of their mind high, and which is what made the person fearful, because he tried to use a bill that I guess was a fake bill to purchase something, and then he was outside acting weird, and they, in their police call, said that this person was obviously distorted and on drugs. When he is put into handcuffs and is put against the wall, a baggie of what looks to be like cocaine or it's white, it's a white baggie that he drops onto the floor that you can see in an image. If you look up the clip, the media is refusing to circulate it. You can find it on Twitter. If you use DuckDuckGo and look up George Floyd baggie, you can watch the clip yourself with your own eyes. He had drugs on him at the time of his arrest. Now, barring all of that, nobody thinks that he should have died during this arrest, but what I find despicable.
Tony, you want to start with this, sir?
Say that again.
You want to speak on this first, sir?
No, I'll let y'all go ahead. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I kind of black out when she speaks. So, but yeah, you could go ahead.
Okay.
I'm sorry. You can go ahead.
If this lady ain't the coon of all coons, when you think of a raccoon, just think of this lady transforming from a black woman straight to a raccoon. I don't know what else to say. Number one of the most disgusting reports that came out after George Floyd's death was the fact he had coronavirus. I don't think it mattered. He would have still been alive today hadn't it been for the treatment that he received from the police officer. His death is ruled on homicide.
That really irritated me.
I could not believe it. Okay, the autopsy report showed he had methamphetamines and fentanyl in his system. All right. Listen, whatever you choose to do to entertain yourself is on you. At the end of the day, it wasn't the methamphetamines, it wasn't the fentanyl, and it wasn't the fucking coronavirus. It was the officer who put 8 minutes and 46 seconds worth of pressure on his neck, which caused him to stop breathing, and that's why he's not here today. So to pick this man after he's dead, to me, is completely messed up. That's number one. Number two, this lady is married to a blonde-haired, blue-eyed devil, white guy. That's how they describe the devil in the Bible. White skin, blonde hair, blue eyes. Her, like many other black women who run to these toms. And I just want to say that if I was to ever mess with a white man, it wouldn't be no fucking tom. I just want to let y'all know. He'd probably be just as soul as half of these brothers out here. But this man that she's married to is a fucking tom. He looks like he takes orders in the bedroom. And she look like she give them. It's messed up to say that he's being depicted as anything. This man wouldn't have even been a thought hadn't he died on just the way he did. He would have been high on his methamphetamines, fentanyl. He would have been dealing with his coronavirus the best way he could, but he would have been alive and at home minding his business. So the fact that anything can happen to anybody at any time, and then you want to turn around and because he has to have an autopsy done, then throw up the fact that the first autopsy that was done and performed on him didn't show any signs of him having any type of homicide performed on him. And then once it was redone by the family and paid for to have a second autopsy done, and that was named as the definitive cause of death, now everybody feels a way about it and feels like they need to step in and say something. This is not who the African American race chose to the words that she said represent us, basically. And this is the best that the African American culture can do to represent. That is not who we chose. The white cop who David Chauvin, I don't even know his name, he was the one who chose this man to do that to. So the fact that she said that just burnt me up. I was aggravated by that. When I saw that interview made by her, and I did watch the whole thing, and I could not believe it. And the whole thing, again, goes on about just putting him down, basically. He wouldn't have been a thought hadn't it been for what happened.
I will say this. I didn't realize who she was until I saw the video again. Everyone kept talking about it. I watched it for a few minutes in the beginning, but once I started hearing the things she said, I turned it off. And I went on to the next video. But I will tell people this. There are certain things and certain situations that someone who isn't aware of that should be conversating or commenting. Obviously, this is a very well-educated woman. She was raised in the suburbs. She's well-educated, and she's living her life in a nice area. The fact that she felt that everyone called Mr. Floyd and said, okay, we want to make a drastic change in the way we're being treated, so we're going to need you to go ahead and die.
Right.
In front of this camera, and we're going to get the world to start making changes about the way things are going. Again, this is someone who is privileged, who hasn't probably ever had to have a Wish sandwich, wish she had some fucking meat. So for her to feel that she can comment, I don't think she can. I understand her opinion, and what I need people to understand is once you start using excuses for something, Mr. Floyd's criminal past had nothing to do with the reason why he passed away.
Nope.
Mr. Floyd, again, who came out that $20 was not counterfeit.
It sure wasn't.
Okay. Was it counterfeit? Because I want to know who gives someone a counterfeit 20 and then stays across the street waiting for someone to happen. So that $20 bill wasn't illegal. That illegal $20 bill didn't cause the cops to approach him. They did not get the cops to lie and say that he was resisting arrest. And if it wasn't for the Chinese store owner who released the video showing he was not resisting. And then we also see another video while you see him getting roughed up in the back of the truck, where they claim that he did not want to get in the truck.
Exactly.
So how was he getting roughed up in if he didn't want to get in the first place?
Right.
But again, what I want to tell people, again, I don't blame her because she's not from that world. She's not from the street world.
Right.
From the I had to work hard for what I had to get. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with that. But
She's not from our struggle.
Right. Well, my problem is when you have someone commenting on something that she knows nothing about.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't care if he was smoking a crack pipe and passed out on the ground. That any and everything that mattered did not justify the police officer doing what he did.
Right. Absolutely. And that's all that matters.
And that's all that matters.
He would have still been here today, like I said, with Corona, high off of whatever they found in the system, alive.
He was sitting in the car, not bothering nobody.
Nobody. And that's you
want to know the most messed up part about this? Doesn't it seem like whenever something like this happens, you know, whether it's a cop killing a black person or a racist white person killing a black person, isn't it weird how the media always finds faults in that person after they've already passed away? Like, what are you digging up their past for?
Listen.
Well,
They're gone.
You have to.
Why are you trying to hurt their character even more?
Well, that's the thing.
Then,
we have to continue to try to help justify the wrongdoing.
Yep. Yeah.
You have to justify it to get like the cop who, because you remember the Gardner family got money. They didn't get justice.
Right.
They got money. That cop was not convicted.
Right.
Even though that move was illegal. I don't care how big Garner was over that cop. Mm-hmm. You're a trained cop. You're supposed to be trained how to deal with touchy situations, dangerous situations. This is why you get training to do that.
Listen, a couple of months ago, and shout out to the family of Jameek Lowry out of Paterson, New Jersey. Again, he was another one, news everywhere. He walked into the police station after making several calls telling them that people were chasing him. Next thing you see, Jameek Lowry laying in a hospital bed, tubes hanging out his nose. Next thing you know, the man done died. They were trying to speculate he was beaten up in the ambulance by either the cops or the EMT drivers. Still has gone as an unsolved case in Paterson, and it's been probably almost about a year now. Well, but now he's in that characteristics with everybody else.
Well, they're opening up a lot of other cases. Yeah. And a lot of more light is being shined on the situation with Mrs. Taylor, Breonna, with her death.
Yes.
And I want people to understand those cops aren't going to do any jail time. I want you to understand that.
Sadly.
Now, unfortunately, her death has changed the way the law works in that state.
Right. It shouldn't even have to lead to that, though.
Well, I agree with you.
That's
but
what we're sick of.
It took all this stuff that happened, Mr. Arbery, Breonna, Sean Reed, Gray Roy. I apologize from Jack, the black guy who got bum rushed by cops in Brooklyn or the Bronx. The lady, cop called the wrong call in and they jumped him. Fitzroy.
Oh,
Fitzroy.
Yes.
And all this stuff happening back to back to back, and now you have these white people like Roger Goodell apologizing. You have Drew Brees apologizing for the dumbest shit in the world, saying
he got a whole black team. What the fuck is wrong with you, Drew Brees?
And the fact that Trump said you shouldn't apologize, and he still stood by it. So. Unfortunately, it took these travesties for people who didn't understand to kind of understand. Even Amy Cooper, who now the mayor of the governor is working on putting a false call on someone because of their race as a hate crime.
Yes, she got fired from her job.
Oh, she got fired. But what I love about it is how I don't think it's de Blasio. I'm pretty sure it's the governor who's looking to have a law set, Cuomo, to have the law set. If someone calls and falsifies something just because of the person's race, it'll be a hate crime.
It should be, as it should. There are too many people that are getting away with being able to make phone calls about being harassed by black people that aren't true.
That man could have died.
He could have died.
He could have lost his life over a lie.
Yeah. And that's the messed up part of it.
And she's trying to say, "Oh, I'm not racist," but
she's very racist.
Very racist.
Just like S. Barber is racist.
I will say this.
And
I think my man. I don't think neither one of them are racist, in my opinion. I think they were brought up in different situations, and you're gonna start seeing backlash. Like Mr. Chauvin's ex-wife. I think they arrested him at 9 and 9:01. She filed for divorce.
That's it.
She don't want nothing to do with him. Nothing. She said
her brother is the Chinese guy.
Oh yeah, I know, but I think it's a little. I think that's shaky. I think her getting a divorce is to protect the money. I think this is all the roots. But Black Lives Matter does not mean all lives don't matter.
Right. It doesn't, guys.
It means we want people to understand. To stand up and to have pride within ourselves. And I'll say this, no disrespect to Goddess, to you women who keep going to these Korean shops where the man won't even put the money in your fucking hand, but you keep running back there. They hate you so much that they will not put money in your hand, but you keep giving money to that organization.
Guys, I wear no nails. And I don't wear nails. And the beauty supply store that I go and get all of my wigs and stuff is black owned.
I understand that, but I'm making for all these women out here. That's why I said no disrespect. If we're talking all this, let's really take the power back, just like they did the Blackout Tuesday or whatever, where they didn't want to. Start understanding.
Yeah.
And the NBA and all these other people understanding. If black people aren't involved in sports, no one's going to watch it.
I said that the NFL should have been embraced what Colin Kaepernick was trying to do with other players.
Well, here's what I
NFL
want people to
runs
say.
on black men.
Go ahead, Tony.
problem-
Go ahead, Tony, and I'll go. Go ahead.
The problem with the NFL, it had less to do with the players and mostly to do with the owners.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
Because the owners are all white.
Oh, yeah.
There are no black owners in the NFL.
None.
And the problem with that is all of these white owners have the most influence over what happens with the league.
Mm-hmm.
So if Colin Kaepernick, with him kneeling and, making a name for himself, well, not making a name for himself, but, like standing for what he believes in and trying to get other NFL players to follow suit, owners are like, no, we don't want this because we feel like it's a bad image or, negative this, that, and the third, blah, 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 whatever. Then, okay, NFL players are thinking, okay, you know what? I don't want this to hurt my pockets.
Right.
So they listen to what the owners say.
Facts.
And
Yeah.
as much as bad as, like that's so effed up. But I mean, at the end of the day, secure the bag. But still, we're talking about something that's far beyond, money. We're talking about something that's far beyond a career. This is our lives.
Yes.
And Colin Kaepernick saw this and he said, you know what? If it means my career has to go down the drain, so be it. But I'm kneeling because I'm sick of seeing cops get away with killing our black brothers and sisters.
Yeah.
And these white owners were like, yeah, you could do what you want, but the rest of us, I can tell you this team, nobody on this team is going to kneel. And if they are, they're going to get punished.
Yeah.
And in my honest opinion, if you ask me, that's kind of slave mentality-ish. Because why are we being punished for standing up for something that we believe in just because we play for your team?
Mm-hmm. He's right.
I think when the NBA, the Clippers, when that situation happened with their owner, who is a minority, still using harsh language,
Yes.
and the fact that it was the playoffs and the team was going to boycott that game
Mm-hmm.
and cause the NBA millions of dollars
Mm-hmm.
is when the commissioner stood up and actually did something.
Yep.
But
lose money.
I want people to understand this. People know Roseanne Barr, right?
Yep.
All right, she said some things that shouldn't have been said, right? We remember that, right?
Yep.
So what did they
We
do
remember.
to the Roseanne Barr show? They took her off
Canceled
of
it.
it. No,
That's it.
they took her off of it.
Mm-hmm.
But she still owned the show. So even though she wasn't on the television, she still was eating from the show.
Yeah.
If you're going to do something, do it right.
Exactly.
Don't do it halfway
You're right.
or half-assed.
That's just like these cops putting these other cops on they're being put on administrative leave. They're basically being paid to sit at home while they're being investigated.
Well, here's the
It's
thing.
shame.
What people have to understand, people may not understand how strong the police union is.
Okay.
The police union is very strong. So a union is going to do what they're supposed to do. They get hundreds of millions of dollars every year from all these police officers from across the United States, all right? And they have to protect them.
Right.
So you have to go through proper steps.
Right.
So there are certain things where, just like when the mayor fired those 4 police officers immediately, the union was trying to fight to get their jobs back.
Yeah.
It's their job to do it.
Yeah. Unjust.
So they got to, they're just trying to save face.
Yeah. All right. All right, guys. So this was my edition of Grown Talk with Goddess this week. Tony, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you always having some input to put into everything, whether you're watching the show or you're here with me. I truly appreciate it. Always.
It's all good. I just wanted to say one more thing.
Go right ahead, sweetheart.
One thing that really kind of like irritates me, and it's something that I've thought about a lot. You have white people that say there's no such thing as white privilege. And
We did it at the same time, huh?
like that really irritates me because what they fail to realize is America is white privilege. You think about all the stuff that we've had to fight for that's basic with white people.
This
You know, and unfortunately, and it's like, I hate to say this. I hope people don't take this too far out of context, but it's like, if you're not an athlete, an actor, or some form of celebrity, and you're black, people don't really give a fuck about you.
Facts.
But if you're a kid and you so much as get pushed by, if you're a white kid and you so much as get pushed by somebody, doesn't matter. It's breaking news on 6 o'clock.
Yep.
But black people killing black people, next, because it's so common. Yet, how many white people have died at the hands of other white people, and that made huge news.
Facts.
But when black people do it, and listen, I'm not saying black people killing other black people is a good thing, but damn it, why not? So again, it's super irritating when I hear people say there's no such thing as white privilege.
Oh, yeah.
It's all around us. We
Everywhere.
see it every fucking day.
Listen, this country.
These people live white privilege, even if you're in like a not so good neighborhood or whatever the case. You live in white privilege. So I just wanted to, have a little semi-rant about that, because it's like, it kills me, because I wish we could live in an era where there was a such thing as black privilege. Seriously. Hopefully this may happen long after I'm dead. I don't know. Maybe not. But
We'll get there.
I hope there's a such thing as black privilege.
We'll get there.
Where we can just do shit and it doesn't matter.
Listen. Y'all look at me.
So,
Y'all look at me and y'all say this woman got a whole bunch of kids. At the end of the day, my whole motive was to always create an empire. I'm out here reproducing little me's to run around, run this earth, once I'm gone, and their kids will run in the earth, and, it'll all be through their bloodline. I did that shit on purpose. I don't have 10 kids. I have an army. I have an army of kids that I'm bringing up that are, gonna do everything in this world to make sure that they leave an imprint and a mark on somebody's life at the end of the day. And that's what I'm doing, and that's why I did what I did and do what I do. White privilege is out here. It exists very much so. Everybody knows white people get away with doing more shit. I saw a picture of the guy that they arrested that had just shot up a whole church full of black people.
They bought him dinner.
They bought him dinner and was giving him water while he was on the ground. And the picture right next to it was, Mr. Floyd with a knee on his neck. And there's a difference between the way we're treated as if we're dirty or as if we're not clean like these white people are. And, it's disgusting and it's confusing to explain to the kids who are too young to understand. I got a 10-year-old daughter who feels like protesting is rioting. Mom, we need to go out there and we need to do that. And we need to throw bricks through the window to let white people know that we're mad and we're angry. And we need to go get a pair of sneakers like everybody else is doing. And she doesn't understand at 10 years old that it's not about the looting. It's about your voice being heard and getting out there to protest. If you have not taken part in any protest, please make sure you go out and do so. My daughter's out today protesting. My 16-year-old, shout out to Alicia.
We know why she went out.
She's been feeding to get out. But she's out. They had a big protest out in Inglewood at McKay Park at 3:30, so she went with her friends to go do that. And they had another one, a big one out in Hackensack yesterday. So, my kids are the older kids that understand what's going on. They are definitely trying to leave their print here, and they are trying to make their voices heard, as loud as they can. But it's just for our future. We have kids that are growing up, and it's clear that they understand and have a full recollection of, all of the events that have been going on. We live basically a whole history book within the year of 2020 between sicknesses and deaths and wild locusts and everything else that's going on. It feels like the end of days. But at the end of the day,
Killer wasps.
It's wild.
No, they had killer locusts in Africa. In Africa, they had a killer locust outbreak in October. Listen, it felt like the Revelations. I promise. But teach his own. It's just
It's
make your voice heard. Stand for a cause. Stay away from people that are uninformed or ignorant, to the racism and the violence. It's not what we need. What we need is to stand together, pull together. All lives matter, but Black lives matter. We're the ones who have been victimized years, for no other reason besides our skin being a little darker than the next person. So,
Kira.
yes.
Black lives matter.
Black
That's
lives
what's important right now.
Black lives matter.
All lives matter. That can be the focal point once we get all of this shit cleared up first. Because I don't care about all lives matter at this point. It's Black lives matter. Because, like Truth said, Hispanics ain't getting killed like us.
Right.
Asians ain't getting killed like us. And even if they're getting killed in America or what have you, they're not getting killed the way we're getting killed.
Right.
So Black lives matter in that aspect.
Okay.
So that's the important thing that people have to understand.
That's right.
But in the grand scheme of things, yeah, all lives matter. But right now, Black lives matter.
Gotcha. So, I got you, baby.
Yeah. But
right.
It's funny how all of this is going on and people completely forgotten about coronavirus. It's like an afterthought.
Well, listen, at the end of the day,
is that still around?
Yes, the fuck it is.
I just want to say something real quick before I end up closing out. Coronavirus, to me, has always been an overexposure to 5G radiation. And one more thing, Joe Biden is going to come out with a Black woman as a vice president. Mark my words. When we find out that this coronavirus has all been linked to a 5G radiation overpoison, and that our running president, Joe Biden, is going to come out with a black lady as his running mate and vice president, and they are going to win, then you guys will listen to me.
Listen, the important thing is just getting Trump out of office.
He's going to be
That's
gone.
the important thing.
He's out of here.
So, listen, I'm not even so much, because, Joe Biden said, if you don't vote for me, you ain't black. You know what, Joe? You might be right. Because, look, we need to get this 45 orange toad-looking motherfucker with a blonde wig. We got to get him the fuck out of here.
What do you have to lose? Your schools are in poverty. You're living in poverty. Yo, I've never been or have heard a president speak that wanted to keep us so segregated from each other, rather bring us together. It's ridiculous.
But he swears he's done the most for black people.
Nah.
All right, cool.
Donald Trump can kiss my ass.
Listen, Obama had his miscues, but if he didn't have to, and this is what I truly believe, if he didn't have to clean up so much of Bush's mess, I feel like he could have had more time to do more for the African American community. But that's a topic for another day.
Yes. All right. I got my kids texting me, we're out of breast milk. Y'all know what that means.
Oh, Lord.
I got to get my drunk teddy home. Tony, thank you so much for being here. Craig, if you're still there, we'll talk about what we could do next week together. But, Tony, thank you, sweetheart. Thank you.
I look forward to it. I appreciate you guys having me on the show for the second time. Hopefully there could be a third. Hopefully I could be in studio one day.
Look, next time you're on the show, you're going to be sitting right here next to me.
Excellent.
All right.
I look forward to it.
True. Thank you so much for getting everything together
Always.
for today's show. I appreciate that. Again, guys, don't forget S. Barber out of Paterson, New Jersey. You're not getting your hair cut by him. I made him famous, like I said I was going to do. Everybody now knows what he's about. So be on the lookout for him and steer clear. And I want to thank everybody for tuning in to this week's edition of Grown Talk with Goddess. I'll see you guys next week. Bye-bye.